it's a brilliant win for Delhi, and I would say they played true to their potential.
Hello everyone, this is the Straight Bat with Gulf News and Mr. Cricket UAE, that is Anis Sajan. Anis Sajan is not with us today, but we have with us Gulf News sports editor Satish and the Delhi Capital supporter Sanket Jain, who is a very happy man today. So Satish, tell us about the match today.
Yeah, it's a brilliant win for Delhi, and I would say they played true to their potential. And toss helped them, and a few catches and close. The luck was also in their favor. And more importantly, Samson also played into the hands of Delhi. I would leave it at that right now because
yeah, we'll discuss that as we go along.
Yeah, and Sanju also helped Delhi in a way to win this match. So that's my take right now.
Sanket Jain, you are a Delhi supporter. Tell us your impressions of today's game and what does this win mean for Delhi?
So if you look at the points table right now, Delhi is currently placed at the 5th position right now. And, by winning this game, they're still in the tournament. Like if you look at it in the way that if they might have lost this match, so it would have been, 10 points for them in like 12 games. And RCB is currently at 14 points. So, it would have been almost impossible for them to get into the points table. As they would have wanted to get into the points table only when RCB would have lost 2. They would have to depend on them. But now, after winning this match, Delhi has kept themselves alive in the tournament. So this is definitely a very important match for them in this way. And I'm sure Mitchell Marsh and David Warner, the two men who finished the game for Delhi, which is a brilliant partnership between both of them, over 100 runs. So they would take in a lot of confidence, and the Delhi camp would be really happy. The coaches like Ricky Ponting and all. So yeah.
Okay, Sadish, let me go to the elephant in the room, the conversation which was revolving around Ashwin's elevation to number 3. Do you think it was a mistake?
Ashwin, I am not taking anything away from Ashwin. He's a great player and a very good all-rounder. I like him, and he did what he could do. He got a 50. But when the point is, when Sanju himself is a better batsman, between the two, we all know who's a better batsman, whether it is Sanju or Ashwin. Even I think anybody would vouch for Sanju. And what the wicket also showed is, if the batter, and rather not just today, over the last few matches or the last 1 week, if you look at, the key should be to play longer innings and play deep. The team that plays, or one batsman should play longer. Yesterday, the same way it happened to Gujarat, where Gill played till the end. So if that is the situation, Sanju should be the best person to do that. He should have come in instead of Ashwin. Yes, they were one batter short. Hetmeyer was not there, but he should trust himself. And he's such a great talent. Them would he have to come after Ashwin almost to the last 4 or 5 overs? Thankfully, it was the Devdutt Padikkal's knock that took them to 160. If he had not played that kind of a knock where he came and started hitting every ball and he found that timing right, Rajasthan would have finished much lower than this total.
Sanket, you must have been very, very happy with the Delhi bowling today, because they got Butler out early. Not just that, when Ashwin threatened to do some pinch hitting, they managed to apply the breaks, especially in the middle orders, with Kuldeep Yadav by bowling a string of very good overs.
Yeah, definitely. Delhi bowled really well today in comparison to the matches earlier. Because if you look at the matches earlier, they've been conceding 200 runs and over. So, that's a huge improvement. If you look at that, 160 runs total, it's pretty nice. I mean, you expect that much from all the teams. And the main bowler, I feel, who, really stood up today was Chetan Sakaria, because he came in as a replacement for the injured Khalil Ahmed. So, Khalil has been bowling really well in this tournament. But Chetan Sakaria, he has not had the best of tournaments till now before this match. And, he's really stepped into the correct shoes and, bowled really well, taken up the responsibility. And yeah, he really swung the ball in the start, took the main wicket of Butler, who is the danger man. Because in the first match earlier, in Delhi versus Rajasthan, Butler scored a magnificent 100 over there, and took the game away from Delhi. So this is what I feel, just made the difference in the game.
Okay, Satish, again, coming back to the Ashwin thing, you can't escape that thing simply because if you look at the scoring rate, Ashwin's knock of 50, exactly 50 came off 38 balls. If you look at Mitchell Marsh at that stage, he was also scoring at the same rate till he powered towards the end. So at 50, Mitchell Marsh and Ashwin were almost going at the scoring rate. So what was the difference here?
See, the difference was we know that once the field was spread, Ashwin will not be able to take it that far because he himself one retirement. If you look at, he got retired because probably he was not able to push it further, or maybe
okay. Let me ask you this way: fitness. Should he have retired early?
Yes, maybe yes, but again, that wouldn't have helped Cham because here the wickets, one batter has to bat longer and deeper. Like almost the set batsman has to keep one end up and you have to start hitting. If you look at Warner was there on the other side, probably he had a lesser scoring rate or lesser strike rate than Ashwin himself, but he was holding one end up. And after a point in time, Mitchell Marsh started attacking. So that's the way the strategy should have been. But you can't go both ends. For sure, you can't go both ends. At the same time, you can't go both ends defensive as well. So that if Ashwin had been
sent case, up, should Padikkal should have started earlier, right?
No, Padikkal came and started earlier, but by the time he came in, I think he came around the 12th over, if I remember right, or 9th over he came in. The moment he came in, the moment he came in, he started hitting, and that's where the scoring rate also improved. If you look at after the power play, the run rate dropped. It dipped, and Ashwin was almost a runner ball at that point of time. Then when Padikkal started hitting, Ashwin also started increasing his tempo and went there. That's how the chart has gone through, and that's the dip has cost them 15 runs, which Sanju said they were 15 runs short, but that's the dip that cost them.
That 15 runs would have come from Hitmare, right? Because Van der Dusen struggled to put bat to ball.
And that's because you can't come and hit Sham. It's very difficult wicket to come and play your shots immediately. But once you know the pace, once you know the bounce, once you assess everything, how the wicket behaves, then it becomes easier. That's what Mitchell Marsh and Warner did. And of course, when there were 17 runs, Pant can come and hit and play those shots because he's very good at that. But I would say if they had sent Ashwin, they should have told him, you bat till the end, don't get out in the middle. Or they should have retired him earlier, or maybe but ideally, I would say Sanju should have come in straight and simple.
Yeah, we'll come back to that a little later because that is still hanging fire. So just to quickly switch back to Delhi, Sanket, tell us what was going through your mind when they lost Bharat in the second ball of the match. Not just that, Marsh struggled very much initially against Trent Bolt's accuracy and movement.
Yeah, definitely. When Shikhar Bharat got out on the second ball, I guess all Delhi fans got a feeling, this match also got out of the hand. Because if you look at it, Marsh has not been till this point of time. Marsh in the tournament, he's not made any big runs. He's maximum played in the 20s or 30s. He hasn't gone beyond that. Yeah, David Warner is there, definitely. Pant also, has not got up to his best form. So when Shikhar Bharat got out on, the very second ball, and also how Trent Bolt bowled, so definitely, all Delhi fans must have thinking that this match also went out of hand because, and I would like to say that the main reason for this is Prithvi Shaw's, injury, like his health. Basically, when Prithvi Shaw was there earlier, opening with David Warner, this was, one of the best opening partnerships in the tournament. I mean, the way both of those batsmen were batting together, they were great. They had all the firepower at the start, and they were just, taking the bowlers apart. But since, Prithvi Shaw has gone, Delhi has experimented, with Mandeep Singh, and it did not work out. Then they tried with Shikhar Bharat. And today, as we can see, again, it did not work out with him. It was his second innings. So Delhi really need to do something for their opening pair, even, for the upcoming matches. But yeah, definitely, it is commendable as to how Warner and Mitch Marsh, They stabilized no matter how many scares there were at the beginning. But you can see in the middle overs, the way they, batted, it was really good and, helped Delhi to win the game.
Satish, this batting was not very easy in this because you saw the pacemen and the spinners getting some kind of tackiness on the pitch. Could Rajasthan have done anything differently to defend 160?
Uh, Sham, they did the best, but I think it was a smart batting by Mitchell Marsh and David Warner. If you look at even in the midway after the Rajasthan innings, when Marsh was asked about how you're going to set the chase, he said hitting fours are difficult. Big shots are you can't play big shots, so you need to run hard. So he had already planned it. So what has happened is they started running hard, and to cut the second run, the fielders were 5 yards inside. So the catches were going over their heads. So it's a brilliant, smart batting. And I just checked it. Mitchell Marsh has scored 89 runs, of which he scored 7 sixes and 5 fours, which means 62 runs came off 12 balls. And the rest of the 27 runs came in 50 deliveries. So it was a very calculated assault, and they took their time. They were not in a hurry. They knew how the wicket behaved, and that's precisely what somebody like Sanju should have done. He should have stayed there. He can play shots like nobody. Shami is probably one of the best batters talent-wise, but somehow the Rajasthan team management is not getting their act together. And Ashwin can be a great all-rounder. I like him. He's a brilliant player, but he can't be a pinch hitter, and number 3 is not a slot. And I think with Sanju Samson around, he should have been up front. That's
Okay,
where
I'll come back to
the
that.
smartness.
We'll come back to this again, Satish, because there is still a lot to be said about that. But Sanket, tell me about Warner's innings. He struggled throughout. He was struggling to put bat to ball. He was bowled, but the bail didn't come off. And that first over of your Chahal was a nightmare for Warner, but he still stuck around. And
Yeah,
reminds me of the World Cup when Mitchell Marsh and Warner took them home against Pakistan.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Warner did struggle at the beginning, and it was mainly because of the pitch. You could see that a lot of balls from Trent Bolt and Prasidh Krishna, they had a lot of extra bounce, and it did Warner, his expression showed all of it, and as you said that he was not able to put bat on ball, but we all know how experienced David Warner is. He's played all around the world. He's a fantastic batsman in all the 3 formats. So his experience, I think, was the main factor, because he knew that no matter what, he needs to play at a calculated rate. He saw how Mitchell Marsh was playing aggressive on the other end, and he gave him as much support as possible. He ran hard between the wickets. So yeah, that is, and yeah, definitely what you were talking about, Chahal's ball to him, where he got bowled, the stumps did light up, but the bails did not fall out. I mean, that's, you can say, the extra luck that Delhi really needed today, despite everything that's been happening with them throughout the season, so they really needed this, and probably this really helped them. And let's see how it turns out.
Yeah. Before we wind up, Satish, one more thing about the Rajasthan thinking. Tell me what is exactly Rajasthan Royals management thinking, because this is not the first time they have pushed Ashwin up the order, because if you look at every side, they would rather have their best batsmen consume the maximum number of balls. See,
Correct.
if you look at here, how many? I mean, Sanju came when there was 4 overs left, which means he has to get going from the ball one. So was Rian Parak, for that matter. Even Van der Dusen is somebody who needs time in the middle to get going. So that was a completely dodgy strategy from Rajasthan Royals, but they continue to do this. Why do they do this?
It beats me, Sham. I think what has happened is generally when Butler fails, or when I think that's where I think even when Butler was there, they sent Ashwin one game. Maybe when the wicket falls in the power play overs, they are looking at sending Ashwin as a pinch hitter to take advantage of the infield to get some quick runs. Yes, that could be a fair strategy, but when the
But if
wickets
that
are
is a
good,
strategy, that backfired because he stayed for too long.
correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is, you can't blame him because the wicket was not conducive for even the best of best batters are struggling.
True.
So you can't expect a guy who is predominantly a bowling all-rounder to come and he can be good with his defense and technique, but he's not as a T20 player. Despite that, he did quite well to get his first 50 in IPL. Uh, well done to him. But had Sanju been there, maybe he would have got that under 20 runs or 25 runs, which would have put that extra pressure on Delhi, so that they had done some mistake. Sham, without pressure, cricket is nothing. Unless you put pressure
Absolutely.
on the opponents, you can't win anything. So that 160 was almost reachable score. Maybe 175, 180 would have been given that little urgency in Warner and Marsh, where they would have made some mistakes and things could have gone differently.
That I completely agree there with you, Satish. And before we wind up, here is some little something for our readers. We have a contest for readers to guess the winners every day. And if you win the winner, if you pick the winners correctly, each of the winners will walk away with 3 prizes. That is a cricket apparel from Mr. Cricket UAE and a Gulf News digital subscription and an entertainer voucher worth 500. That is if you pick correctly, and picking correctly has not been easy so far. And yesterday all the 3 of us picked Rajasthan to win, and only Anis picked Delhi to win. So it's picking is not easy. So let's try and pick the winners for tomorrow's game. That is Chennai Super Kings playing Mumbai Indians, 2 former champions with nine titles between them, but struggling to make an impact in this tournament. So Sanket, you go first. Who will win tomorrow?
So based on how both the teams have gone in the tournament, I'm going to pick Chennai Super Kings. And the main reasons for that is, how they played against Delhi last time. I mean, Delhi is a good team, they have quality players, but it was a completely one-sided match, the way they played with Delhi, they scored over 200. And I'm really liking how Ruturaj Gaikwad and Devon Conway, the opening partnership they're playing together. So I really favor them ahead of Mumbai because, I don't think Mumbai, they have any good bowling options other than Bumrah. They're not able to figure anything out. So yeah, Chennai it is for me.
Sadesh, I don't think I'll have to ask you.
No, but I'm I'm a Chennai fan, but I would like to say why. Sham, the way they lost 52 runs to Kolkata yesterday, rather the previous match, that there was they were clueless, Sham, absolutely clueless. The way they succumbed to the entire chase. I think
that actually summed up their entire
is,
campaign because Mumbai doesn't lose like that.
Correct. And the way Pollard got run out, and they were clueless, and I think Pollard is becoming the biggest problem for them because he's not been scoring runs. Time and again, he used to bail them out with some quick fire knock of 30, 35, 40. That would help them either to cross over the line or give them that extra boost for the total. But he's been completely off color. Of course, Rohit Sharma is off color, and 2 of your main players not scoring, 2 of your main batters not scoring, you can't expect to win consistently. And on the contrary, thankfully, Chennai has been always banking on the good opening partnership, which 2 years they did. When they didn't do well, they failed in the previous year. Last year, they had a good partnership between Ruturaj and Faf. Both of them were number 1 and number 2 in the run scorers list. So they were able to do well. And again, now Conway and Ruturaj have struck a nice partnership in the last 4 games or 5 games. They have been scoring runs quite well. So I would go with Chennai because they are in form. And with this, Chennai can still be in the running, whereas Mumbai don't have any chance.
I agree with both of you on Conway and Ruturaj. In fact, they have been an absolute delight to watch in the last few games. Not just that, I think a change in captaincy also has done a lot of good for Chennai because you are seeing Mohin Ali being used more extensively these days, and he's coming away with good wickets and turning in good spells. So that has also been a changing. So there's a completely different Chennai we are seeing now. So which is why I would pick Chennai to beat
and
Mumbai.
Sham, with the wickets turning, and with the wicket slowing down, Chennai has probably 3 or 4 very good spinners who can turn the match around. So that
Yeah,
can
of
be a very
course.
good advantage.
Yeah, you have Moeen Ali, you have Tikshna, and you have Ravindra Jadeja. So
Ravindra
it's enough
Jadeja
to
also.
choke. Yeah, true. So it's enough to choke in any team for that matter. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for all our viewers for tuning in. And that's all from us today. Please log on to gulfnews.com for the latest and all our social media channels as well for the latest developments and the updates. Thank you very much. Good night from us
Thank you.
and see you
Bye
tomorrow.
bye. Good night.